Hi, welcome to 60 and Ready to Chat. I'm Ann Johnson. Are you ready to chat? Do I look old? Do I? Do I look old? You know, that's a question that a lot of us have been asking. And that's a tough question. Do I look old? Look in the mirror and say it. You know, when you watch ads on TV for anti-aging ads, and they tell you if you don't want to look old, you need to wear the creams, the cleanser, the serum, the mask, all these things, or you're going to look old. It's a racket. It really is a racket. But I don't think that do I look old is actually the question. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with a date on a calendar. I really don't. I think it's more we're asking, am I still attractive? Do I still exist? Am I still relevant? I think those are the questions that are really coming up. But beyond, do I look old? There's a set of rules out there that everyone else follows that goes along with, do I look old? And that is your mother, your sister, friends, good meaning, but they look at you and they'll say stuff like, you're awfully brave to wear your hair long at your age. Have you heard that? Or, that outfit's a little bit young for you. Do you think you should be wearing it out? Or my favorite, if you go gray, aren't you afraid you're going to look old? These are some of the unspoken rules that plague women. So here you are looking in the mirror asking, do I look old? And at the same time, others are validating it through their questions. Then we end up doing something called self-policing. Self-policing. We put a filter on our age. We put a filter on our face. And by that, I mean, society has what I would call an expiration date on midlife women. And we're supposed to fall into line and go with that expiration date. But do we have to? Do we have to be sucked into the, if you're not youthful, you've expired? When we look in the mirror and ask ourselves, do I look old? We begin to shrink. We spend decades editing ourselves down. And as a result, we're looking into mirrors and asking for permission to exist. And that's a tough one. Oh, Jan Angles just showed up and she says, well, for one, I don't think you look old at all. Well, thank you. And I actually know Jen, and I can tell you she definitely doesn't look old. So we find ourselves shrinking and we diminish ourselves somehow by looking in that mirror and asking for permission to exist. Have you audited your face lately? Do you look in the mirror at every single line? These parenthesis lines are my smile lines. They mean something. But do you do that? Do you self-audit? When we were in our 20s and 30s, we did not self-audit our face. We did not look at every little mark, line, spot. We just didn't do it. Now, teenagers, yes, we looked for acne, of course. But in our 20s and 30s, we didn't do that to ourselves. Why are we doing that to ourselves now? It doesn't make any sense. Our years, we have quietly acquired wisdom. We've acquired that feeling of I'm not putting up with nonsense anymore. We go forward and we feel when we take a step that the ground is solid underneath us because we are self-assured and we know ourselves. And yet we get in front of a mirror and fall apart. I think a few wrinkles is okay in exchange for feeling the self-assured confidence that we do at our age. I don't think that's a bad thing. Do I look old? I think that should be swapped out for the words, do I look like me? Because me is a unique person. And me is probably the most important person in my life. So next time you are thinking about, do I look old? Swap it out with, do I look like me? Stop apologizing. We're in this day and age where we apologize to youth for aging. Frankly, they should be apologizing to us for not respecting what we have to offer. Right now, there's a battle on TikTok, of all places, a generational battle. I don't know if you know about this. I'm going to talk about this in a future chat on my channel. But there's this battle between between Gen Z and millennials. And the battle of all things is who looks older, who has the best skin. And they're going back and forth with the best skincare. And the irony about it is they think they're the only ones who should exist on TikTok. So they're having this battle. They haven't really drawn us in for that battle, but they have drawn us in by saying we're too old to be on TikTok. And to me, that's quite interesting. And I talk about that further. It'll probably be coming out in May, the chat for that one. But I talk about that further because TikTok is becoming really big among midlife women. And I don't think we needed to be invited by Gen Z or millennials to do that. To those of you who are Gen X, head on over there. So stop apologizing. Have you ever seen a magnetic woman? Yeah, you're right, Jen. Jen says what they don't realize is that they will be that old one day. Yeah, they don't realize they're going to age. If they keep going, they're going to be midlife too at one point, and the youth will be turning on them like they've turned on us. And hasn't this been going on for years? Think about that. When you were in your 20s, the midlife women and anyone older, women in their 50s. I know when I was in my 20s, I thought that women in their 50s were ancient. We know different now, don't we? When you see a magnetic woman walk into a room and she's rocking her gray hair, she's rocking her red hair, she might be rocking blonde hair, but she looks good and she feels confident. That is exactly what we all need to do. We don't need to look for permission. We've given ourselves permission. And we didn't have to ask for it from a mirror, or at least we shouldn't have had to ask for it from a mirror. The permission slip is signed by you. So, what is anti aging? We talked about that in the beginning with the anti aging advertising. Well, I'm going to tell you something. My mom, who's in her 80s, and I were talking, and I was telling her I was going to do an anti aging chat on my channel because I just find the whole industry to be ridiculous. And my mom said, "That's the craziest thing I ever heard." And I'm thinking, why doesn't she want me to do that? She said, "There's no such thing as anti-aging. Anti-aging is anti-living. If you don't want to age, the opposite isn't so hot. Anti-aging doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Simple aging does." And I'm not saying, when I'm talking about being against that industry, that we shouldn't take care of ourselves. I think we should exercise. I think if you have a good skincare routine, that you should continue to use it. I like a good serum. I like a good cleanser and cream for my face because it makes me feel good. I do it out of self-care, not because of self-fear. And that's a big difference. Self-fear is what the anti-aging industry has taught us. Self-care is what we should have taught ourselves. And from the vantage point we have at this stage in our lives, we can see a lot of things. We can see a lot of things from our past, present, and what we're going to do in our future. And a lot of women get to this age and think, what is there? Well, I'm going to tell you something. My mother in her 80s plays tennis, goes to book club, belongs to other clubs as well, does yoga and water aerobics. From her vantage point, she hasn't even peaked yet. So when you're looking in that mirror, thinking to yourself, do I look old? Think about that for a moment. Do you look old, or do you feel something else instead? Are you happy? Because a lot of times that question comes out when somebody's not happy. If you're not, look for that. Don't look for a bottle of cream. A jar of cream isn't going to help you. Find something in your life that means something to you besides a bottle of serum. Midlife is not a consolation prize. It's not a consolation prize. It's the epitome of what we've been working for all these years. It's knowing yourself. It's liking yourself. It's choosing the right friends. It's listening to yourself, knowing your wisdom, not putting up with nonsense. It's all these things. It's not standing in front of a mirror asking, do I look old? If you could, watch my channel. I have a new video coming out this Sunday on how to make friends in midlife. And it was several people asked me to put that together after last week's how to get over losing a friend. So we're going to go into that 6 o'clock on Sunday. Love to see you there. And thanks for the chat.